I just got back from the most incredible, crazy, insane experience, and I gotta tell you about it. I meditated in silence for 10 hours a day for 10 days straight, but the good news is you only need 10 minutes a day to start receiving the benefits of meditation. The biggest misconception about meditation is that you are trying to empty your mind. I'm gonna clear that misconception up in a sec, but first, if you're new here, hi, my name is Jibby. I'm a software engineer turned fitness trainer turned content creator, sharing life in my 20s, prioritizing health and wellness. If you're into that sort of thing, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing. Now back to meditation. Meditation is training your brain to write on water. The thoughts will always come and always exist, but your work is to allow the thoughts to leave just as quickly as they've come, like writing on water. Most of us tend to have thoughts that get stuck with us like they are chiseled into rock. You can sit for minutes, hours, days, or months ruminating in the same thought pattern. According to the National Science Foundation, an average person has about 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts per day. Of those thoughts, 80% are negative and 95% are repetitive thoughts. When you meditate, you're training your brain slowly to let go of those negative and repetitive thoughts just as quickly as they've come. You can use meditation as a tool like exercising to continuously become a better version of yourself and get 1% better every day. Plus, studies do show that mindfulness meditation can reduce anxiety symptoms and may instill some resilience to stressful psychological challenges in life. In other words, improving your ability to cope with stress, which your girl needs that. If you give it a whirl, you might see yourself progress from thoughts that are like chiseled rock, stuck with you for months or years, to simply writing in the sand that only sticks for a day or so, to eventually perhaps like writing on water, leaving you just as quickly as they've come. But those are for those meditation gurus. I have not gotten there yet. So let's get into my intense meditation experience. No phone, no talking, no eye contact, no touching, no reading, no writing, no exercising. With 4 a.m. wake-ups, meditating 10 hours a day for 10 days straight. Now, this is the absolute most extreme, so I'm just gonna tell you about this experience, but if you know that you're a beginner, this is like step 100. Baby steps is all you need. 10 minutes a day. But for me, these 10 days were incredibly eye-opening and broke my little heart open in the best possible ways. I consider myself a soft girly. She loves the self-care, but emotionally resilient, she's working on that one. So this challenge to become mentally stronger and resilient was something I knew I needed to challenge myself with. When you cut out all of the noise in the world, from the background music playing at a restaurant, to the constant chatter of those around you, to continuous access to your phone and endless streams of entertainment and news and information, when you silence it all and are left with just your thoughts alone, you're left with the deep stuff. The stuff that you haven't processed yet, that you've let yourself be distracted from by the world, by work, by taxes, by whatever you have going on in your day-to-day. But when you cut the day-to-day out, that deep stuff is what you're left with to work on for those 10 days. Whew. So let's get into it. So what is this thing? I decided to go on this retreat a couple of months ago. I heard about it from a friend and she said it was amazing and she got so much out of it. And so I said, sign me up. Anything that will help my state of mind outside of drugs and alcohol, your girl will try anything once. Plus it was free, completely donation based. Say less. I looked it up and it's called Vipassana meditation. They have locations all around the world, from Sri Lanka to South Africa to California. The closest one to me was in Joshua Tree, so I set my alarm for 6:45 a.m. the day I needed to sign up because they book in minutes. I'd gotten the email that I'd gotten accepted and cleared my schedule for 10 whole days. These 10 days, you are taught a meditation technique that's non-sectarian. That is, not to do with the religion, and anyone of any background can practice it without contradicting their own personal faith. Though I will say it does have associations with Buddhism. The basis of the practice is moral conduct, or sila, so you are asked to follow these 5 precepts. No killing any being, that is anything from a mosquito to an ant. No stealing, it's a communal space after all. No sexual activity, no telling lies. It was easy when you couldn't actually talk. And no intoxicants, no drugs or alcohol. Now, all the videos you see on location were either filmed on day 0 or day 11 when we actually got our phones back. So let's talk schedule. This was basically prison, or let's say boot camp, where they heavily suggest that you do not leave. It's not for the faint of heart. You get a gong at 4 a.m. and promptly start meditating from 4:30 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. Then at 6:30, we get 45 minutes to eat a silent breakfast where we are all facing a wall. The lucky ones got a window, I did not. And all the meals were vegan, vegetarian, in line with the precept of no killing. Then from 7:15 to 8 a.m., we got a little bit of free time. So at this point, I would go on the walking path. The desert vegetation was so beautiful, and we had an artist with us who started making all these cute rock formations. We couldn't look at each other, so it was really hard not to be like a typical girl and be like, "Ooh, girl, I love your work." It was just this silent acknowledgement as we walked past, looking down at the ground. And I think she felt it. From 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., there was a group meditation in the hall, and then 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Optionally, you can meditate in your room or in the hall. Then we had another 45-minute lunch break, and it was too hot to do the walking path, so I just napped. I couldn't read, I couldn't write, I couldn't scroll on my phone, so any free time I had was either walking or napping. You also got a chance to have only 5 minutes to talk with the teacher if you had any questions about the practice. This next chunk of time was basically 4 hours straight of meditating with a couple 5-minute breaks in between. So from 1 p.m. to 2:20, meditate, 5-minute break. 2:30 to 3:30, meditate, 5-minute break. 3:30 to 5 p.m., meditate. Oh my gosh, this was the hardest, I will say. 4 hours straight of meditation with just a few minutes break in between. It was a marathon. By the end, those 1-hour sits were like easy peasy compared to the 4-hour breaks. Then at 5 p.m., we got no dinner. For the older students, they actually have to abstain from eating dinner, basically intermittent fasting. For the new students, thank heavens, we at least got fruit and tea with milk. Old students only got lemon water and tea with no milk, none. Then at 6 p.m. to 7, we had our last group meditation, and then we actually got a discourse from this teacher. His name is Goenka, and he popularized Vipassana meditation around the world. These videos are from the 90s, and this old man is so cute. He teaches about the history of the meditation practice, the benefits, and gives tips on it. Then one last meditation after a short break from 8:15 to 9 p.m. Then bedtime, my favorite part of the day, because by this time, even though I wasn't actually physically doing much, I was so exhausted. Who knew that meditating 10 hours a day would be so exhausting? So this is how day 1 through 10 went for me and my takeaways. Day 1 through 3, you simply learned how to focus your mind by watching the breath. You didn't learn the full Vipassana technique until day 4, after giving time to strip yourself of distractions. These first 3 days were kind of physically brutal. You were allowed to move as much as you liked to find the most ideal position for your body. So these 3 days, people were like building these pillow forts around them to support their knees and their backs and their arms, and they brought their own meditation stools. It was absolutely hilarious. I tried sitting cross-legged, but my back was not used to holding my bowling ball of a head in perfect posture for 2 hours straight with no back support, so my back was aching and said no. Then I tried the meditation stools that they had and my knees said no. But by day 3, I found the most ideal position for my body in a seated position with a backrest and a pillow under my knees. That was perfect timing because after day 4, they have you commit to sitting for 1 hour without moving for 3 times a day. But like I said, by day 10, sitting without moving for an hour was like a breeze compared to those 4-hour sits. Day 3 for me is really where a lot of emotion was coming up. I ended up taking most of my optional meditations in my room that day because I was just sobbing. Things that I thought I'd processed and moved past were coming up again, and I realized, oh, I was just distracted by life. I hadn't actually processed this. Just in time for day 4, where they teach you the deep meditation meditation technique of Vipassana, which is essentially like a body scan, but you're taught to observe the subtle sensations throughout the body without reacting to them. Whether a painful sensation, itching, or pleasurable, you just watch it and let it pass, not giving much attention to the positive or negative sensations, recognizing that they are both impermanent and will pass. It's to help you develop this sense of equanimity or maintaining a sense of inner calm regardless of the circumstances. If you can understand this concept in meditation, you can then apply it to your life. And this, my friends, is that mental strength that I have been learning how to cultivate through meditation. Just like using working out as a tool to be physically strong and healthy, just like using education as a tool for mental intelligence, meditation has become another tool in my toolbox to help me manage my, let's call it, fluctuating emotions and learn acceptance of the changing nature of the world and circumstances around me. By day 5, I was already starting to get insight about my personal life, and by day 8 and 9, I was peaking in my meditation technique and allowing myself to just sit in that equanimity for 10 hours a day. I really love that the last half of day 10 to day 11, they actually let us start talking again and slowly start integrating back into the world. Finally getting to talk with these people that I felt so bonded to, even though I could never look at them or speak with them. I felt like I found some soul sisters. It was split up with men on one side and women on the other, so the entire time I was just surrounded by women and couldn't even look at the men. When we finally got to talk again, we were all sharing about our different experiences and our insights that we got. I was like, let's start a WhatsApp group, and we've just been keeping in touch and supporting each other as we integrate ourselves back into the real world. Ultimately, it's given me a lot more resolve and acceptance about so many circumstances in my life that I already had the head knowledge about and just needed to create space in my life to let sink down to the heart. I have much more resolve and peace about my dog's impending sickness, that every day is a gift and tomorrow isn't promised for any of us. Acceptance about circumstances in my personal life, and the strength to get out of the negative cycle of thought. Like, if a negative thought arises, I don't have to see it through and be a self-fulfilling prophecy. I have the power to see, oh, that's a negative thought. Acknowledge it, hey there, and then let it leave as quickly as it came. Bye-bye. I don't have to react to the negative or the positive, which was an interesting concept that I'm still wrapping my head around. Like, I get the negative stuff, let that go, but with the positive, I want to celebrate and enjoy and be excited for all these amazing things that are happening in life. But I think the point is, yes, it's important to have goals and exciting things happen, but not to be so attached to them that if things didn't work out the way that you wanted, you wouldn't be absolutely devastated and distraught and unable to go on with life. Sounds familiar. So with that in mind, I definitely find so much value in this experience. I don't know if I would 100% attribute all of my insights to the meditation technique itself. I think any opportunity that you have to take away your phone, all distractions and communications from the world, and just sit in quiet nature for 10 days to make you square off with the chatter and trauma in your mind and body is gonna afford you some major life insights. But this just so happens to be a free opportunity to do such a thing, plus you learn this incredible technique of meditation. Coming back home, I am going to try and keep up this meditation practice, not 10 hours a day, but 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the evening. We'll see how long it lasts, but hopefully I continue to reap the benefits of meditation. So yeah, in the absence of my full life of distractions, I was finally able to create a space where I could quiet not the mind, but quiet life in order to observe the mind. If the rigor of this sort of thing is too much for you, definitely check out my other video about doing a quiet solo weekend away, or try starting a 10-minute a day meditation practice through an app like Headspace or Calm. If you stayed this far, make sure to like this video and subscribe and comment down below because it really supports my channel and helps me reach more people. Thank you so much for watching till the end, and I'll see you in the next video.